After the tragedy in Oklahoma, Eteri strengthened as a person and built a brilliant career in the United States. She was an amazing artist. The youth of Eteri Tutberidze is full of incredible events. She survived a terrible terrorist attack in the United States, a nightmare that became a turning point in her fate. After him, Tutberidze got stronger as a person and built an amazing career in ice shows, shining on American ice for several years. Thanks to the natural beauty and grace, coupled with diligence and acquired skills, she received leading roles that brought her unprecedented success. But this bright adventure could not last forever. Later Eteri chose coaching. And I didn't guess. In the new field, Tutberidze achieved unprecedented success, making a real revolution and entering the history of figure skating forever. No wonder that against the backdrop of such a resounding success, her past achievements were lost. But they are also worthy of attention, like the entire biography of Tutberidze. We tell and show what kind of figure skater Eteri was in her youth. Poverty and a terrible tragedy in the United States. Tutberidze went on tour in the USA in the fall of 1994. When it became very difficult for her to stay in sports purely financially, the young girl was offered to perform as part of the Russian ballet on ice, and she agreed. Then Tutberidze could not even imagine how difficult the first months of life overseas would be. At first, problems with documents for some of the skaters forced the rest, including Eteri, to train for a whole month without a salary. There wasn't even enough money for food. We went to dine in Baptist churches, where, after the service, the parishioners were brought sandwiches and water. When the whole group finally gathered, the American company terminated the contract because the Russians violated a number of conditions. They settled the athletes in the shelter of the Youthful Christian Association of Oklahoma and left him to wait for the resolution of the next ups and downs. The most terrible thing happened on April 19, 1995. A car bomb exploded near the federal building, opposite which this shelter was located. Tutberidze and his entire troop were at the epicenter of one of the largest terrorist attacks in the United States. That morning I went downstairs to wash, looked at the clock. 9:04. Explosion. Terrible rumble. Heaviness from the blast wave. Grave silence. And inhuman screams. I don't know how I ended up on the street. 1. It can be seen that it took a long time to get out. The walls were torn apart. All the guys were taken away. They shouted about the second bomb. People ran, and I just stood there. I looked lost. In shales, with a towel, a toothbrush. Some firemen ran up, grabbed my hand, dragged me along. For half a day, as if delirious, I wandered after him while he checked the destroyed premises. Tutberidze told about the day of the terrorist attack in Oklahoma. However, this nightmare was a turning point in the fate of Eteri and the starting point of her ascent in America. Career takeoff and unexpected contract terms. After the terrible tragedy, Tutberidze and her partner Nikolai Apter were sheltered in their family by the same firefighter who saved her, Bain. He also played another significant role in her life. He helped restart her career in the United States. Bain called Icecapades, one of the best companies specializing in ice shows, and recommended Eteri and Nikolai to them. They did not take them right away. It was necessary to go through a kind of casting, send a video in which they perform paired elements. Bain did not stand aside here either. He provided his camera for filming and played the role of a personal operator of Russian figure skaters. The video turned out to be excellent. The organizers of Icecapades appreciated Tutberidze and Apter and invited him to Cincinnati, where the ice show was based. Having received $1,200 in compensation. Like all the victims of the terrorist attack, Eteri and his partner decided to buy a car. Naturally, they didn't have enough money for a new one, so they bought a used car that needed serious repairs. The fireman who came to the rescue again brought him to order. Bain was a jack of all trades. Finally, the skaters left Oklahoma for a new life and work in Cincinnati. The path was long. The two cities were separated by 1,200 kilometers. Already on the spot, Eteri learned an important nuance of her future performances. She had to do somersaults in skates through Nikolai. This acrobatic element was listed as an obligatory clause of her contract, but, fortunately, she could not worry about anything with Apter. He effortlessly coped with such tasks. Thank God. Kolya knew how to do everything. He worked in Russian ballet. Through guys, what could we say about a partner? At one time, Apter rode with the Velikovs with Elena Nikonova. He had a reputation as a strong partner. Kolya had a palm the size of a stool. It was not difficult to make the whole top for him. Any support, recalled Tutberidze. From that day, Eteri's career in ice shows began to take off. For 4 years she shone in America and did not worry about her finances. Fatal brunette on cold ice. As an artist for ice shows, Eteri Tutberidze fit perfectly. A spectacular, slender brunette invariably attracted the attention of the public. The external data on the stage is very important. Only in this case the stage was replaced by ice. But Eteri was famous not only for her beauty. Although she finished competing early, she now demonstrated the skills she had gained over the years in show productions. And this is no coincidence. Among her coaches in the past were both Elena Tchaikovskaya and Tatiana Tarasova. True, the latter at that time was too focused on preparing for the Olympic Games, the Klimov-Ponomarenko pair, and did not pay much attention to the other pupil. This, by the way, also partly prompted Tutberidze to leave for America later. In that Olympic year, Tatiana Anatolyevna gave all her strength to the Klimov-Ponomarenko pair. Something had to be done. When an offer was made to go to the show in America, I agreed, Tutberidze shared. As for Eteri's former partners, the most curious among them is Ilya Averbukh. She met him when she trained at CSKA. But their paths in sports quickly diverged. Eteri and I even skated in pairs in ice dancing. True. Even then she was taller than me. She reminds me all the time that I said that I would not ride with her. She herself says, "Do you remember how we skated together?" But I don't remember. This offended her even more. I remember Eteri very well, because we trained in the same group. She skated with another partner, I skated with Marina Anisina. We skated a lot in CSKA. We are practically from the same group. Then our paths diverged, and we did not know about each other, said Averbukh. But, as you know, everything that is done is for the best. In a duet with Nikolai Apter, Eteri traveled to many cities in the United States and made their residents happy with her bright performances. In a series of endless rehearsals and tours, she could rely on her reliable partner and feel confident in performing all sorts of tricks. An adventure that couldn't last forever. In ice shows, Tutberidze skated the main parts. She perfectly felt what emotions needed to be conveyed in one way or another, and was equally good both in the role of a fatal beauty and as a fragile, tender young lady. It was impossible to confuse her against the background of other artists. Her natural charisma singled her out instantly. While touring the United States, Eteri made many friends. And her life turned into an exciting adventure, but it could not last forever. At some point, her partner wanted to work more quietly, settle down in one place and open his own business. Eteri also felt that it was time to try herself in a new business, and she and Apter went into coaching. In the coaching field, Tutberidze was waiting for even more massive success. So much so that it overshadowed her career on American ice. But Tutberidze was a real star there. Very bright and very pretty. That's all for today. If the information was interesting to you, put likes, subscribe to the channel, and see you soon.